The kitchen of the Grand Pearl Hotel was hot and crowded, but Naomi felt cold to her bones. She stood at the industrial stove, her hands shaking as she stirred the cream sauce for the wedding reception meal. Her wedding reception. Except she was not the bride. Through the small window in the kitchen door, she could see her husband Vincent laughing with his new bride, Gabrielle. The woman wore a white dress that cost more than Naomi's car payment. The guests raised champagne glasses while Naomi wore an apron stained with grease and wine. This was not supposed to be her life. 3 months ago, Vincent had come home and announced his plans. "I'm taking a second wife," he said casually, like he was discussing the weather. "Gabrielle understands me in ways you never could. But I'm not divorcing you. You'll stay as my first wife and she'll be my second." Naomi had stared at him in shock. "That's not legal. That's not even real." Vincent had smiled, cold and calculating. "It's real enough. We're having a ceremony, a celebration. And you're going to help make it happen." "You've lost your mind," Naomi had said. "I'm not participating in this circus." That's when Vincent had shown his true colors. He pulled out papers, bank statements, documents with her signature on them. "You remember that business loan you co-signed last year? The mortgage refinance? I control everything now, Naomi. Every account, every asset. You have nothing without me. And if you want to keep a roof over your head, you'll do exactly what I say." "You can't force me to cook for your fake wedding," she had protested weakly. "Can't I?" Vincent had leaned close, his breath hot on her face. "Here's what's going to happen. You're going to prepare the most beautiful wedding feast anyone has ever seen. You're going to smile and serve my guests. You're going to show everyone that you accept your place in this new arrangement. And if you do this, if you prove you can be useful and compliant, I might let you stay. If you refuse, I'll take everything and leave you with nothing but debt." Naomi had wanted to fight. She had wanted to scream, to call the police, to run. But when she looked at the documents, when she saw how he had manipulated every financial aspect of their life together, she felt trapped. She had no money of her own. Her family lived far away. Her friends had slowly disappeared over the years as Vincent isolated her. So here she stood, cooking braised short ribs and roasted vegetables and delicate pastries while her husband married another woman 30 feet away. The head chef, a kind older man named Bernard, kept giving her sympathetic looks. "You don't have to do this," he whispered. "This is wrong. Just walk out." But Naomi couldn't walk out. She had nowhere to go. Or so she thought. A server pushed through the kitchen door carrying empty appetizer trays. "They're asking for the main course," she said. "And the groom wants you to bring it out personally." Naomi felt her stomach drop. "What?" "He specifically requested that you serve the wedding party's table." The server looked uncomfortable. "I'm sorry. This whole thing is messed up." Bernard put a hand on Naomi's shoulder. "You don't have to do this. I'll tell them you're not available." But Naomi knew Vincent would punish her if she refused. He would find a way to make things worse. So she arranged the plates with careful precision, making everything perfect. If she had to do this, she would do it with dignity. She pushed through the doors into the reception hall carrying the first tray. The room fell silent as guests noticed her. Some looked away in embarrassment. Others whispered to each other. A few laughed openly. Vincent sat at the head table with Gabrielle practically in his lap. When he saw Naomi approaching, he smiled wide. "There's my first wife," he announced loudly. "Coming to serve us like she promised. Isn't she wonderful?" Gabrielle giggled, a high-pitched sound that made Naomi's teeth hurt. "This is so perfect," she cooed. "I told you she would understand her position eventually." Naomi set the plates down with steady hands. She looked at Vincent, really looked at him, and saw a stranger. This man who she had loved, who she had trusted, who she had built a life with. He was not who she thought he was. He was a monster. "Is there anything else you need?" Naomi asked, her voice flat. "Just your blessing," Vincent said mockingly. "Wish us happiness, Naomi. Wish us a long and prosperous marriage." The guests waited. The room was silent except for the soft music playing in the background. Naomi felt every eye on her, waiting to see if she would break, if she would cry, if she would cause a scene. Instead she smiled. It was not a real smile, but no one could tell. "I wish you exactly what you deserve," she said clearly. Vincent laughed, thinking he had won. Gabrielle clapped her hands in delight. The guests relaxed and went back to their conversations. Naomi returned to the kitchen. She untied her apron with shaking hands. Bernard watched her with concern. "Are you okay?" he asked. "No," Naomi said honestly. "But I will be." She pulled out her phone and sent a text to the one person she knew would help her, no matter what. Her best friend Simone, who she had not spoken to in months because Vincent had convinced her that Simone was a bad influence. The message was simple: I need help. Please come get me. The reply came back in seconds. On my way. Address. Naomi looked through the kitchen window one more time at the celebration. At Vincent with his arm around Gabrielle. At the guests eating the food she had prepared. At the mockery of a wedding that had destroyed what was left of her dignity. She took off her apron, grabbed her purse from the staff locker, and walked out the back door of the hotel. She did not look back. Simone's car pulled up to the hotel service entrance 15 minutes later. Naomi had been standing in the cold night air, hugging herself, trying to process everything that had just happened. When she saw her friend's familiar face through the windshield, something inside her finally broke. She climbed into the passenger seat and started crying. Drive, she managed to say between sobs. Just drive. Simone did not ask questions. She pulled away from the hotel and drove through the city streets while Naomi cried years of pain and humiliation into her hands. After 20 minutes, Simone pulled into the parking lot of an all-night diner and turned off the engine. Tell me everything, Simone said gently. And Naomi did. She told her about Vincent's announcement 3 months ago. About how he had isolated her from friends and family. About how he controlled all their money. About the threats and manipulation. About being forced to cook for his wedding to another woman. The words poured out in a flood, and Simone listened without interrupting. When Naomi finally fell silent, exhausted, Simone's face was hard with anger. That man is a criminal, she said flatly. What he did is financial abuse. It's coercion. And bigamy is illegal. It wasn't a real marriage, Naomi said tiredly. Just a ceremony. Doesn't matter. He's still abusing you. Simone pulled out her phone. You're coming to stay with me. Tonight. Right now. And tomorrow we're going to figure out how to take him down. I can't, Naomi protested. All my things are at the house. All my documents, my identification, everything. And Vincent controls all the money. I have nothing. You have me, Simone said firmly. And we'll get your documents tomorrow when he's at work. But tonight you're safe. That's all that matters. They drove to Simone's apartment across town. It was small but clean, and Simone made up the couch with blankets and pillows. I know it's not much, she apologized. It's perfect, Naomi said, and she meant it. For the first time in months she felt like she could breathe. The next morning, Simone called in sick to work and insisted they go to Naomi's house immediately. We need to get your important papers before Vincent realizes you're gone, she said. They arrived at the house Naomi had shared with Vincent for 8 years. It looked the same as always on the outside, but Naomi felt like she was seeing it differently now. This place had been a prison, not a home. Using her keys she let them in. Vincent was at work, but they moved quickly. Naomi grabbed her birth certificate, social security card, passport, and other identification documents from the home office. Then she spotted something that made her freeze. On Vincent's desk was a folder labeled Financial Records. It was open, papers spilling out. Naomi picked up the top sheet and her blood ran cold. It was a bank statement for an account she did not recognize. But her name was on it as a joint account holder. The balance showed a debt of $50,000. What is this? She whispered. Simone looked over her shoulder. That's a loan. Did you borrow money? No. I never signed up for this account. Naomi shuffled through more papers. There were 3 different loan applications, all with her signature. Except the signatures looked wrong. The handwriting was close but not quite right. He forged my signature, Naomi said, her voice shaking. Vincent took out loans in my name. They kept digging. What they found was worse than Naomi could have imagined. Vincent had opened multiple credit cards in her name and maxed them all out. He had refinanced their mortgage, putting the house solely in his name while leaving her responsible for half the debt. He had systematically drained their joint savings account and moved the money to accounts that only he could access. Most damning of all, they found a property deed. Vincent had purchased a house 3 months ago, the same time he announced his plans for a second wife. He had put the house in Gabrielle's name, using money from the loans he had taken out in Naomi's name. This is fraud, Simone said. This is actual criminal fraud. Naomi sank into Vincent's desk chair, staring at the evidence of his betrayal. It was not just the emotional pain of him choosing another woman. It was the cold, calculated way he had been stealing from her, destroying her credit, setting her up to take the fall for his crimes. Why? She whispered. Why would he do this? Because he's a monster, Simone said bluntly. And because he thought you were too weak to fight back. Naomi looked up at her friend. I'm not weak. I know you're not. Simone started taking pictures of every document with her phone. We're gathering evidence. And then we're going to bury him. They spent 2 hours photographing every paper in Vincent's office. Bank statements, loan documents, forged signatures, property deeds, everything. Naomi also found emails on Vincent's computer where he discussed his plans with Gabrielle. The messages made it clear she had known about the fraud and had helped him plan it. She's not an innocent victim, Naomi realized. She was part of this from the beginning. Then she goes down too, Simone said grimly. They packed everything important into 2 large boxes and loaded them into Simone's car. As they were leaving, Naomi took one last look at the house. This chapter of her life was over. Whatever came next, she would face it with her eyes open. Back at Simone's apartment, they organized all the evidence. Simone made phone calls while Naomi sat with a cup of tea trying to process everything. I got you an appointment with a lawyer tomorrow, Simone announced. Patricia Henderson. She specializes in financial fraud and divorce cases. She's expensive, but she said after hearing the basics she thinks you have a strong case. She might even take it pro bono if the evidence is as good as it sounds. I don't have money for a lawyer, Naomi said. We'll figure it out. Right now the important thing is you're safe and we have evidence. Vincent thought he had all the power. But he made a mistake. What mistake? Simone smiled grimly. He underestimated you. He thought you would just accept whatever he did to you. He didn't count on you fighting back. Naomi felt something shift inside her. Simone was right. For years she had let Vincent control her, convince her she was nothing without him. But that was a lie. She was educated, skilled, and strong. She had just forgotten. I'm done being a victim, Naomi said firmly. Good, Simone replied. Because tomorrow we start the fight. And we don't stop until Vincent and Gabrielle both pay for what they did. That night, Naomi barely slept. But for the first time in months, it was not fear keeping her awake. It was determination. Vincent had humiliated her, stolen from her, and tried to break her spirit. But he had failed. And now she was going to make sure he regretted every single thing he had done. Patricia Henderson's law office was in a downtown high-rise with floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the city. Naomi sat in the waiting room, nervous but determined. Simone sat beside her, offering silent support. A woman in her 50s emerged from the inner office. She wore a sharp suit and had steel-gray hair pulled back in a neat bun. Her eyes were intelligent and assessing. Naomi? I'm Patricia Henderson. Come in. They followed her into a conference room. Patricia sat across from them and pulled out a legal pad. Tell me everything, she said. Don't leave anything out, even if you think it's not important. Naomi started from the beginning. Her marriage to Vincent 8 years ago. How slowly, over time, he had taken control of their finances. How he had isolated her from friends and family. Then Vincent's announcement about taking a second wife, his threats, the forced participation in his wedding ceremony. Finally, the discovery of the forged loans and financial fraud. Patricia took notes, her expression growing more serious as the story unfolded. When Naomi finished, she spread out copies of the documents they had photographed. For 10 minutes, Patricia reviewed everything in silence. Then she looked up and there was fire in her eyes. This is one of the worst cases of financial abuse and fraud I've seen, she said. And I've seen a lot. Vincent didn't just betray you emotionally. He committed multiple felonies. Forgery, identity theft, fraud, probably money laundering. And from these emails, Gabrielle was a willing participant. Can we prove it? Naomi asked. With this evidence? Absolutely. Patricia tapped the documents. These forged signatures are sloppy. A handwriting expert will confirm they're fake in about 5 minutes. The timeline is damning. He took out these loans right before purchasing a house in his mistress's name. Any prosecutor will see this as premeditated theft. What about the wedding? Simone asked. Making her cook and serve them. Isn't that some kind of abuse? It's emotional abuse and coercion, definitely, Patricia said. But it's harder to prosecute. However, it establishes a pattern of control and manipulation that will help in civil court. The financial crimes are our strongest weapons. Naomi felt a weight lifting. So we can fight this? Fight it? Naomi, we're going to destroy him. Patricia leaned forward. Here's what we're going to do. First, we file a police report for identity theft and fraud. That starts a criminal investigation. Second, we file for divorce with a request for emergency financial relief, freezing all joint accounts. Third, we file a civil lawsuit for fraud and emotional distress, naming both Vincent and Gabrielle as defendants. All at once? Naomi asked, startled. Strike hard and strike fast, Patricia said. Vincent thinks he has all the power because he controls the money. We're going to pull that rug out from under him before he knows what's happening. How much will this cost? Naomi asked quietly. I don't have any money. Vincent took everything. Patricia studied her for a moment. I'll tell you what. I'll take this case pro bono. You'll cover court filing fees and expert witness costs, but I'll waive my fee. Why? Naomi asked, surprised. Because I'm tired of men like Vincent getting away with destroying women's lives, Patricia said bluntly. And because when we win, and we will win, the court will order Vincent to pay all legal fees and damages. I'll get paid eventually. Plus, this case is going to make headlines. The publicity won't hurt my practice. Simone grinned. I like her. There's one more thing, Patricia said. I need you to get me documentation of all his business dealings. Bank statements, tax returns, business contracts. Everything. Can you access those? I have his computer password, Naomi said. He never changed it. Perfect. But we need to be careful. If he realizes you're gathering evidence, he might try to destroy records or move money offshore. Patricia thought for a moment. Do you have any family who might help? Anyone with financial expertise? Naomi hesitated. I have a brother, Julian. We haven't spoken in 2 years because Vincent convinced me he was trying to interfere in our marriage. But Julian is a forensic accountant. He works for a firm that investigates financial crimes. Call him, Patricia said immediately. Explain what happened. If he's any kind of brother, he'll help. That afternoon, Naomi sat in Simone's apartment, staring at her phone. She had not spoken to Julian since Vincent had orchestrated a huge fight between them over Thanksgiving dinner. Julian had tried to warn her that Vincent was controlling and manipulative. Vincent had twisted his words and made it seem like Julian was trying to break up their marriage. Naomi, believing her husband, had cut off contact with her brother. Now she had to admit Julian had been right all along. She dialed his number. It rang 4 times and she was about to hang up when he answered. Naomi? Julian's voice was cautious but hopeful. Is that really you? Hi, Jules, she said, using her childhood nickname for him. I need to talk to you about something important. Are you okay? Are you safe? The concern in his voice made tears spring to her eyes. I'm safe now. But I wasn't. Vincent? Jules, you were right about him. About everything. And I'm so sorry I didn't listen. Tell me what happened. For the 3rd time that day, Naomi told her story. When she finished, there was a long silence on the other end of the phone. I'm going to kill him, Julian finally said, his voice tight with fury. No violence, Naomi said quickly. But I need your help. I need someone who understands financial crimes to help me build a case against him. Send me everything you have, Julian said immediately. Every document, every photo, every email. I'll start digging tonight. If Vincent has been running scams, there's probably more we haven't found yet. These guys never stop with just one victim. Thank you, Naomi whispered. You're my sister, Julian said simply. I would do anything for you. I'm just glad you finally reached out. I've been worried about you for 2 years. They talked for another hour. Julian explained what he would look for, patterns of fraud, hidden accounts, shell companies. He gave her specific instructions on what additional information to gather. This is going to get ugly, he warned. Vincent will fight back. He'll try to intimidate you, maybe threaten you. Are you prepared for that? I'm prepared, Naomi said firmly. I'm done being afraid. Over the next 2 weeks, Naomi worked with Patricia, Julian, and Simone to build an airtight case. She accessed Vincent's computer remotely and copied every file. Julian analyzed the financial records and discovered Vincent had been running real estate fraud schemes for at least 5 years. He would use fake permits, shoddy construction, and inflated prices to scam buyers. He had used Naomi's contractor license to get permits without her knowledge. He's defrauded at least 20 families, Julian told her grimly. Maybe more. The total damages are in the millions. I had no idea, Naomi said, horrified. I thought he was running a legitimate business. That's how these con men work, Julian said. They hide behind legitimacy. But we have him now. The evidence is overwhelming. Meanwhile, Vincent had no idea what was coming. He sent Naomi occasional text messages demanding she return home and stop being dramatic. He threatened to report her for theft if she did not bring back her documents. But he did not know about the lawyer, the accountant, or the case being built against him. Patricia filed all the paperwork on a Friday afternoon. The police report for identity theft and fraud. The divorce petition with emergency motions to freeze accounts. The civil lawsuit naming both Vincent and Gabrielle. Monday morning he'll be served at his office, Patricia said with satisfaction. And then the fun begins. Naomi felt a mix of anxiety and excitement. After years of being controlled, she was finally fighting back. And this time she had the law on her side. The weekend before Vincent was served, Naomi barely slept. She kept reviewing everything in her mind, worried they had missed something, worried Vincent would somehow escape justice. But Simone kept her grounded. You have an army now, Simone reminded her. Patricia knows what she's doing. Julian has found the evidence. All you have to do is be strong and let them do their jobs. Monday morning came. Naomi was at Simone's apartment when her phone rang. It was Patricia. He's been served, Patricia said. Vincent received the divorce papers and civil lawsuit at his office 20 minutes ago. The police are executing search warrants at his home and business right now, and the accounts are frozen. He can't touch a penny until the court sorts this out. What happens now? Naomi asked, her heart pounding. Now he panics, Patricia said with grim satisfaction. I'll call you when I know more. An hour later, Naomi's phone exploded with messages. Vincent called 15 times in a row. When she did not answer, he started texting. What did you do? Call me right now. You're making a huge mistake. I'll destroy you for this. Then Gabrielle started calling and texting too. This is your fault. Vincent is going to lose everything because of you. You're a vindictive witch who can't accept that he chose someone better. Naomi blocked both numbers on Patricia's advice. Don't engage with them, the lawyer had said. Every interaction is potential evidence of harassment. Let them dig their own graves. That afternoon, Julian called with an update. The police found more than we expected, he said. Vincent kept records of all his scams in a safe in his office. We're talking contracts, fake inspection reports, forged permits, payoff records. He documented everything. Why would he keep evidence of his own crimes? Naomi asked, baffled. Arrogance, Julian said. Guys like him think they're too smart to get caught. He probably kept records so he could remember all his schemes. But now it's going to put him in prison for years. Over the next week, more details emerged. Vincent had been running his real estate scams since before he married Naomi. He had married her specifically because she had a contractor's license, which he needed to get permits. Her good credit had also allowed him to take out loans he could not have qualified for on his own. You were a tool to him from the beginning, Patricia said gently. I'm sorry, but you need to understand this. He targeted you deliberately. Naomi felt sick. Our entire marriage was fake? The marriage was real in the legal sense. But his motives were never about love. He saw you as an asset he could exploit. It hurt, but it also clarified things. Naomi had spent years blaming herself, thinking she was not good enough for Vincent. Now she understood she had never been the problem. He was a predator and she had been his victim. But not anymore. Gabrielle started reaching out through mutual acquaintances, trying to convince Naomi to drop the case. She's claiming she didn't know about the fraud, Simone reported after speaking to one of the acquaintances. She's saying Vincent manipulated her too. That's a lie, Naomi said flatly. I saw the emails. She helped him plan which loans to take out in my name. She knew exactly what he was doing. Patricia filed a motion to prevent Gabrielle from contacting Naomi indirectly. She's trying to intimidate you or get you to make a statement that could hurt the case, the lawyer explained. We're shutting that down. 2 weeks after the initial filing, Naomi was deposed for the criminal case. She sat in a conference room with prosecutors and told her story under oath. They asked detailed questions about Vincent's business, her contractor license, the forged signatures, everything. Your testimony is compelling, the lead prosecutor told her afterward. Combined with the documentary evidence and forensic accounting, we have enough to charge him with multiple felonies. Grand larceny, identity theft, fraud, forgery. He's looking at serious prison time. What about Gabrielle? Naomi asked. She's being charged as an accomplice. The evidence shows she knew about the fraud and helped execute parts of it. She'll likely get a lighter sentence if she agrees to testify against Vincent, but she's definitely going to face consequences. In the civil case, Patricia was equally aggressive. They filed motions to seize the house Vincent had purchased in Gabrielle's name, arguing it was bought with stolen funds. They went after his business assets, his vehicles, everything. The goal was to recover all the money he had stolen from Naomi and his other victims. "We're not just stopping him," Patricia explained. "We're making sure he can never do this again. When we're done, he'll have nothing." During this time, Naomi had to face Vincent's family. His mother and sister showed up at Simone's apartment one evening, demanding to speak with her. "You're destroying him over a misunderstanding," Vincent's mother said. "Can't you just talk this out?" "A misunderstanding?" Naomi said incredulously. "He stole my identity, took out loans in my name, and forced me to cook for his wedding to another woman. That's not a misunderstanding. That's abuse and fraud." "Boys make mistakes," Vincent's sister said dismissively. "You're being dramatic. You should forgive him." "Get out," Simone said from the doorway, "before I call the police for trespassing." They left, but not before Vincent's mother said, "You'll regret this. Family takes care of family." "I'm not his family anymore," Naomi said coldly. "I stopped being his family the moment he decided to betray and humiliate me." A month into the legal process, Vincent finally agreed to a face-to-face meeting. Patricia advised against it, but Naomi insisted. "I need to look him in the eye," she said. "I need him to see that I'm not afraid anymore." They met in Patricia's conference room. Vincent arrived with his own lawyer, a nervous-looking man who clearly knew his client was guilty. Vincent looked terrible. He had lost weight and there were dark circles under his eyes. "Naomi," he started, his voice falsely warm, "can we please talk about this like adults?" "We're here to discuss settlement terms," Patricia said curtly. "Nothing else." Vincent ignored her and focused on Naomi. "You don't understand what you're doing. If I go to prison, you get nothing. I can't pay you back if I'm locked up." "I don't want your money," Naomi said calmly. "I want justice." "Justice?" Vincent laughed bitterly. "Is that what you call this? You're destroying my life over nothing." "Over nothing?" Naomi felt her temper rise. "You stole from me. You humiliated me. You made me cook for your wedding to another woman while you spent money you stole in my name. And you call that nothing?" "I gave you a home," Vincent said. "I took care of you." "You imprisoned me," Naomi corrected. "You controlled me. You used me. And now you're going to pay for it." Vincent's mask dropped, and Naomi saw the real man underneath. "You think you're so strong now," he hissed. "But you're nothing without me. You'll crawl back eventually." "Never," Naomi said firmly. "I would rather have nothing than spend another day under your control." The meeting ended with no settlement. Vincent was not willing to admit guilt or accept responsibility, which was fine with Patricia. "We didn't need him to settle," she said after he left. "We have enough to win in court." He just sealed his fate. The criminal trial was scheduled for 4 months away. In the meantime, Naomi focused on rebuilding her credit and her life. Julian helped her dispute the fraudulent loans and get them removed from her credit report. Simone helped her find a part-time job at a local construction firm, using her skills as a licensed contractor. Slowly, Naomi started to feel like herself again. The woman Vincent had tried to break was still there, just buried under years of abuse. Now she was clawing her way back to the surface and nothing was going to stop her. 3 months after the legal proceedings began, Vincent requested a meeting at the house. Patricia was against it, but Naomi saw an opportunity. "He wants to intimidate me one last time," she said. "But I'm not the same person I was. Let him try." They agreed she would wear a wire. Patricia and a police officer would wait outside in case Vincent became threatening. Naomi drove to the house that had once been her prison, feeling strangely calm. Vincent answered the door. He looked even worse than before. His clothes were wrinkled and he had not shaved in days. The house behind him was a mess. "Come in," he said tersely. Naomi stepped inside. The living room was cluttered with takeout containers and empty bottles. Gabrielle was there too, sitting on the couch looking sullen. "We need to talk," Vincent said. He gestured for Naomi to sit, but she remained standing. "You have 5 minutes," she said coldly. "Then I'm leaving." Vincent exchanged a look with Gabrielle. "We want to make a deal," he said. "You drop all the charges and we'll pay you back. Not all at once, but over time." "No," Naomi said immediately. "You didn't even let me finish," Vincent said, his voice rising. "I don't need to hear more," Naomi replied. "There's no deal. You're going to trial and you're going to prison. Both of you." Gabrielle stood up, her face twisted with anger. "This is all your fault," she spat. "Vincent told me you were weak and pathetic. He said you would never fight back. But you had to ruin everything." "I ruined everything?" Naomi said incredulously. You helped him steal from me. You helped him forge my signature on loan documents. You're just as guilty as he is. I didn't know what he was doing, Gabrielle lied. He told me that money was his. We have your emails, Naomi said flatly. We have messages where you discussed which loans to take out. Where you laughed about using my credit. Where you called me an idiot for not noticing. So don't lie to me. Gabrielle's face paled. Vincent put a hand on her arm, warning her to be quiet. Look, Vincent said, changing tactics. Maybe we made some mistakes. But you're blowing this out of proportion. We can fix this without destroying lives. You destroyed my life, Naomi said. You stole my identity, my money, my dignity. You forced me to cook for your fake wedding while you paraded another woman around. You isolated me from my family and friends. You controlled every aspect of my existence. So no, Vincent. We're not fixing anything. You're facing the consequences of your actions. You vindictive witch, Vincent snarled, his mask finally dropping completely. I should have left you with nothing from the beginning. You tried, Naomi said. But you failed. Because I'm stronger than you ever gave me credit for. Vincent took a step toward her, his fists clenched. You think you've won? You think ruining me makes you powerful? You're still nothing, Naomi. And when this is over, I'll make sure everyone knows what a bitter, vengeful woman you are. I'm not vengeful, Naomi said calmly. I'm just done being your victim. That's when Vincent's control snapped completely. You'll regret this, he shouted. I'll make sure you regret this. Are you threatening me? Naomi asked clearly, making sure the wire caught every word. I'm promising you, Vincent said. When I get out of this, I'm coming for you. I'm going to take everything. I'm going to destroy your reputation, your career, everything. You'll wish you had just kept your mouth shut and stayed in your place. Gabrielle grabbed his arm. Vincent, stop. You're making it worse. It can't get worse, he yelled. She's already destroyed everything. No, Vincent, Naomi said quietly. You destroyed everything. I'm just making sure you pay for it. She walked to the door. Vincent followed, still shouting threats. You'll never be free of me, he said. I'll haunt you forever. Every job you try to get, I'll be there. Every relationship, I'll ruin it. You're mine, Naomi, and you always will be. Naomi paused at the door and turned to face him one last time. I stopped being yours the moment I walked out of that hotel kitchen, she said. You're nothing to me now. Just a bad memory I'm erasing. She walked out. Vincent continued screaming from the doorway until Patricia and the police officer stepped forward. Vincent's face went white when he saw them. Did you get all that? Naomi asked. Patricia smiled grimly. Every word. He just added witness intimidation and threats to his list of charges. In the car, Naomi's hands were shaking from adrenaline. But she felt triumphant. She had faced Vincent without fear, and he had revealed himself completely. Whatever power he once had over her was gone. You were amazing in there, Patricia said. Most people would have broken down or gotten emotional. You stayed calm and got him to incriminate himself even more. He's not scary anymore, Naomi said. He's just pathetic. That evening, back at Simone's apartment, Naomi received another phone call. It was from a woman named Teresa who had bought a house from Vincent 2 years ago. I heard about your case, Teresa said. The prosecutor contacted me. I think Vincent scammed me too. The house I bought from him has all these problems he never disclosed. The foundation is cracked, the electrical is faulty. It's going to cost $100,000 to fix. I'm so sorry, Naomi said. Don't be sorry. I want to join your lawsuit. I want him to pay for what he did to me and my family. Over the next few weeks, more victims came forward. Families Vincent had scammed with his real estate fraud. People he had borrowed money from and never repaid. Former business partners he had cheated. The case grew larger and more complex. This is turning into a class action, Patricia said. Vincent hurt a lot of people. They all want justice. The criminal trial was scheduled to begin in 2 weeks. Vincent was facing 23 felony counts. Gabrielle had been offered a plea deal if she testified against him, and her lawyer was pushing her to take it. She's going to flip, Julian predicted. She's not loyal to Vincent. She's loyal to herself. When she realizes she can reduce her sentence by testifying, she'll turn on him. He was right. A week before trial, Gabrielle accepted a plea deal. 3 years in prison and full restitution to victims in exchange for her testimony. Vincent was furious. His own lawyer told Patricia that Vincent had called Gabrielle every name in the book and threatened her over the phone. Another charge, Patricia said cheerfully. He's his own worst enemy. The night before the trial began, Naomi had dinner with Simone and Julian. They raised glasses in a toast. To justice, Julian said. To freedom, Simone added. To new beginnings, Naomi finished. Tomorrow Vincent would face the consequences of his actions. And Naomi would finally be free. The courthouse was crowded the morning of Vincent's trial. News of the case had spread, partly because of the unusual circumstances, partly because so many victims were involved. Naomi sat in the gallery with Simone on one side and Julian on the other. Vincent entered in a cheap suit, his expression defiant. He did not look at Naomi. The prosecutor was a sharp woman named Margaret Chin who had built her career on financial crimes. She laid out the case methodically. The forged signatures. The fake permits. The shell companies Vincent had created to hide money. The real estate scams that had defrauded 27 families. The systematic theft from Naomi using her identity. This defendant is a predator, Margaret said in her opening statement. He targeted vulnerable people, including his own wife, and stole from them systematically. He showed no remorse, no conscience, and no limits. He needs to be stopped. Vincent's lawyer tried to argue that everything was a misunderstanding. That Vincent had made some mistakes but had not intended to harm anyone. It was a weak defense and everyone knew it. The first witness was Julian. He walked the jury through the financial records, explaining how Vincent had set up fake companies, created false documents, and moved money around to hide his theft. He had charts and graphs, making the complex crimes easy to understand. In total, the defendant stole approximately $3 million from various victims over a 5-year period, Julian testified. He used sophisticated techniques to avoid detection, including using his wife's credentials to obtain permits and licenses he was not qualified for. Next came the victims. One by one, families told their stories. How they had bought houses from Vincent that turned out to have major undisclosed problems. How Vincent had promised repairs and then disappeared. How their dream homes had become financial nightmares. Teresa, the woman who had called Naomi, testified about buying a house that looked beautiful but had a cracked foundation and faulty wiring. We invested our life savings, she said, tears in her eyes. Now the house is unsafe and we can't afford to fix it. Our children can't even play in the backyard because we're afraid the ground will collapse. The jury looked horrified. Vincent stared at the table, his jaw clenched. Then it was Gabrielle's turn. She took the stand wearing an orange jumpsuit, having already been sentenced. She looked smaller than Naomi remembered, defeated. Margaret walked her through the scheme. How Vincent had explained his plan to marry Naomi for her contractor's license. How he had systematically isolated Naomi and taken control of her finances. How Gabrielle had helped forge signatures and create fake documents. Did you know what you were doing was illegal? Margaret asked. Yes, Gabrielle admitted quietly. Vincent said we wouldn't get caught. He said Naomi was too naive to notice. How do you feel about that now? I feel like an idiot, Gabrielle said. I thought I was special. I thought Vincent loved me. But he was just using me like he used everyone else. When I got arrested, he turned on me immediately. Blamed everything on me. I realized then that he never cared about me at all. Vincent's face was red with fury. His lawyer had to physically restrain him from standing up. The most powerful testimony came at the end of the prosecution's case. Naomi took the stand. Margaret asked her to walk through her marriage to Vincent. Naomi spoke clearly and calmly, describing how he had slowly taken control of every aspect of her life. How he had isolated her from family and friends. How he had manipulated and threatened her. Then she described the wedding. He told me I had to cook for his ceremony with Gabrielle, Naomi said. He said if I did not, he would take everything and leave me with nothing but debt. So I stood in that hotel kitchen and prepared food for his celebration while guests mocked me. I served him and Gabrielle their wedding meal while they laughed at me. The courtroom was silent. Several jurors had tears in their eyes. How did that make you feel? Margaret asked gently. Like I was nothing, Naomi said. Like I had no value as a human being. Like I deserved to be humiliated. And do you believe that now? No, Naomi said firmly. Now I understand that Vincent is the one with no value. He's a thief and a liar who preys on people who trust him. And I'm grateful I found the strength to escape him. Vincent's lawyer tried to cross-examine her, suggesting she was exaggerating or lying out of revenge. But Naomi did not waver. She answered every question honestly and calmly. The lawyer could not shake her testimony. The trial lasted 2 weeks. The evidence was overwhelming. Financial records, forged documents, testimony from experts and victims. Vincent's lawyer put up a weak defense, trying to claim Vincent had just been unlucky in business and had not intended to commit fraud. The jury did not believe it. After 3 hours of deliberation, they returned with a verdict. Guilty on all 23 counts. The courtroom erupted. Victims hugged each other, crying with relief. Naomi felt Simone squeeze her hand. Julian put an arm around her shoulders. Vincent sat motionless, staring at the table. He had lost. Sentencing was scheduled for 2 weeks later. During that time, Patricia worked on the civil case. With the criminal conviction, it was easy to prove Vincent and Gabrielle were liable for damages. The judge in the civil case ruled in favor of Naomi and the other victims. He ordered Vincent to pay full restitution of $3 million plus damages. The house he had bought in Gabrielle's name was seized and sold, with proceeds going to victims. His business assets, his vehicles, everything was liquidated. "You'll get your money back," Patricia told Naomi. "It'll take time, but the court has ordered full restitution." At the criminal sentencing hearing, the judge did not hold back. "You are a predator," he told Vincent. "You targeted vulnerable people, including your own wife, and destroyed their lives for your own gain. You showed no remorse and no empathy. This court sentences you to 7 years in prison on each count, to run consecutively. Total sentence, 10 years. Vincent finally broke. "No," he shouted. "This isn't fair. She's lying. They're all lying." The bailiffs dragged him from the courtroom as he continued screaming. It was pathetic and satisfying at the same time. Outside the courthouse, Naomi stood with her supporters. Reporters wanted interviews, but Patricia handled them. "My client is a survivor," Patricia told the cameras. She showed incredible courage in standing up to her abuser and seeking justice. This case should be a message to anyone facing financial abuse or manipulation. You are not alone and you can fight back. That night, Simone threw a small party at her apartment. Julian brought champagne. Patricia stopped by with a smile on her face. "We won," she said simply. "Complete victory." Naomi raised her glass. "Thank you," she said to everyone. "I couldn't have done this without all of you." "You did the hard part," Simone said. "You had the courage to leave and the strength to fight." Naomi looked around at the people who had supported her. She thought about how different her life was now compared to 4 months ago. She was free. She had her dignity back. Vincent was in prison and she was moving forward. It was the beginning of a new chapter. And this time she was writing her own story. With the legal battles behind her, Naomi focused on rebuilding her life. The court had ordered Vincent to pay restitution, and as his assets were liquidated, Naomi started receiving payments. It was not everything she had lost, but it was enough to give her a foundation. The first thing she did was move out of Simone's apartment. Her friend had been incredibly generous, but Naomi needed her own space. She found a small 1-bedroom apartment across town. It was not fancy, but it was hers. She painted the walls herself, hung new curtains, and bought furniture from second-hand stores. "This is amazing," Simone said when she came to visit. "You did all this yourself?" "Every bit," Naomi said proudly. "For the first time in years, I'm making my own choices. Every piece of furniture, every color, every decision. It's all mine." Next, she focused on her career. She still had her contractor's license, though Vincent had tarnished her reputation by using it for his scams. Patricia helped her issue a public statement explaining that she had been a victim of identity theft and fraud, and that any permits or projects associated with Vincent's schemes had been done without her knowledge or consent. The statement helped. People who knew Naomi's work reached out with support and job offers. Within a month, she was working full-time for a reputable construction company that specialized in home renovations. Her boss, a woman named Gloria who owned the company, was impressed with Naomi's skills. "You have an eye for design," Gloria said, "and your technical knowledge is solid. Have you ever thought about starting your own business?" "I used to dream about it," Naomi admitted. "But Vincent controlled all our finances. He made it impossible." "Well, he's not controlling anything now," Gloria said. "Think about it. I'd be happy to help you get started. We could even partner on some projects." The idea took root. Naomi started researching what it would take to launch her own contracting business. She needed capital, business licenses, insurance, and clients. But for the first time in years, she felt capable of achieving her dreams. Simone offered to help. "I've been managing accounts for years," she said. "I could handle your bookkeeping and finances. We could be partners." "Are you serious?" Naomi asked. "Completely. You're talented and I believe in you. Plus, I'm tired of working for someone else. Let's build something together. They spent weeks planning. Naomi would handle the contracting work, design, and project management. Simone would manage finances, marketing, and client relations. They drafted a business plan, secured a small business loan, and filed all the necessary paperwork. 3 months after Vincent's sentencing, they officially launched Carter and Associates. The name was Naomi's maiden name, reclaimed after the divorce was finalized. They rented a small office and hired 2 part-time workers. Their first client was Teresa, the woman who had testified at Vincent's trial. She wanted her house properly repaired after Vincent's shoddy work. "I trust you," Teresa said. "You fought for all of us. I know you'll do right by my family." Naomi threw everything into the project. She hired a structural engineer to assess the foundation, licensed electricians to fix the wiring, and plumbers to address the drainage issues Vincent had ignored. The work took 6 weeks, but when it was done, the house was safe and beautiful. Teresa cried when she saw the finished project. "Thank you," she said, hugging Naomi. "You gave us our home back." Word spread. Other victims of Vincent's schemes reached out, wanting Naomi to repair the damage he had caused. Then came new clients who had heard about her integrity and skill. Within 6 months, Carter and Associates had more work than they could handle. Naomi hired more staff. She brought on 3 skilled contractors and an architect. She rented a larger office space. The business grew faster than she had dreamed possible. "People trust you," Simone explained. "They know your story. They know you stand for honesty and quality work. That's a powerful reputation." Naomi also reconnected with her family. She and Julian grew close again, making up for the 2 years Vincent had kept them apart. Her parents visited from out of state and were amazed at how much she had accomplished. "I'm so proud of you," her mother said. "You went through hell, but you came out stronger." Naomi also started attending therapy. Her counselor, Dr. Williams, helped her process the trauma of her marriage and rebuild her self-esteem. "You survived something horrific," Dr. Williams said. "But survival isn't enough. You need to heal and learn to trust yourself again." Through therapy, Naomi worked through her anger at Vincent and her anger at herself for not seeing his manipulation sooner. She learned to recognize the warning signs of abusive relationships and to value her own judgment. "You're not the same person you were a year ago," Dr. Williams observed. "You've grown tremendously." Naomi agreed. The scared, controlled woman who had cooked at Vincent's wedding was gone. In her place was someone confident, capable, and free. One afternoon, Naomi was at a job site inspecting a renovation when she ran into Andre Thompson. He was a civil engineer she had worked with years ago, before her marriage to Vincent had isolated her from the industry. "Naomi?" Andre said, surprised. "I heard about everything that happened. How are you doing?" "I'm doing well," Naomi said honestly. "Really well, actually." They talked for a while, catching up. Andre had started his own engineering firm and was impressed when he heard about Carter and Associates. "We should collaborate," he said. "I have several clients who need both engineering and contracting work. We could bid on projects together." "I'd like that," Naomi said. They exchanged business cards and promised to stay in touch. As Naomi watched him leave, she realized she felt lighter. For years, Vincent had convinced her that she was nothing without him. Now she was proving every day that she was better off alone. Her business continued to thrive. Carter and Associates won a contract to renovate a community center in a low-income neighborhood. It was a big project, but Naomi was confident they could handle it. "This is the kind of work I want to do," she told Simone. "Projects that help people, that improve communities." "Then let's make it our focus," Simone said. "We can build a company that does well by doing good." A year after leaving Vincent, Naomi attended a conference for women business owners. She was invited to speak on a panel about overcoming adversity in business. Standing on that stage telling her story to a room full of women, Naomi felt powerful. She was no longer a victim. She was a survivor, a business owner, and an inspiration to others. After her talk, women lined up to thank her and share their own stories. Many had experienced financial abuse or controlling partners. Naomi listened to each one and offered encouragement. "You're stronger than you know," she told them. "And you deserve better. Don't let anyone make you feel small." That night, back in her apartment, Naomi looked at the life she had built. The business she owned. The freedom she had earned. The future she was creating on her own terms. Vincent had tried to destroy her. Instead, he had freed her to become the person she was always meant to be. And for that, in a strange way, she was almost grateful. Almost. The success of Carter and Associates opened doors Naomi had never imagined. A local news station did a feature story on her business and her journey from victim to entrepreneur. The story went viral, shared thousands of times on social media. "People are inspired by you," Simone said, showing Naomi the comments on the news station's website. "Look at all these messages." Naomi scrolled through them. Women thanking her for speaking out. Men apologizing for not recognizing signs of abuse. Business owners offering partnerships and opportunities. One email stood out. It was from the organizer of the National Women in Business Conference, inviting Naomi to be a keynote speaker at their annual event. "This is huge," Simone said. "Thousands of people attend this conference. It's a massive platform." Naomi accepted the invitation. 2 months later, she stood on a stage in front of 3,000 women and told her story. She talked about Vincent's manipulation and control. About being forced to cook for his wedding to another woman. About finding the courage to fight back and reclaim her life. "I'm not special," Naomi said into the microphone. "I'm just a woman who got tired of being treated like nothing. If I can rebuild my life, so can you. Whatever you're facing, whatever obstacles are in your way, you have the power to overcome them. But you have to believe in yourself first." The audience gave her a standing ovation that lasted 5 minutes. Afterward, dozens of women approached her with their own stories and requests for advice. One woman, an executive named Helen, handed Naomi her business card. "I run a foundation that supports women entrepreneurs," she said. "We provide grants, mentorship, and resources. I'd love to feature your company in our next campaign and possibly provide funding for expansion." "That's incredibly generous," Naomi said, stunned. "You're doing important work," Helen replied. "And your story matters. Let's stay in touch." Back home, Naomi met with Simone and their small team to discuss expansion. The foundation grant could allow them to hire more staff, take on larger projects, and maybe even open a second location. "We could also start a training program," Naomi suggested. "Teach construction skills to women who want to enter the industry. Create opportunities for people who've faced barriers." "I love that idea," Simone said. "We could partner with community colleges and job training centers." They drafted a proposal and submitted it to Helen's foundation. 6 weeks later, they received approval for a grant of $200,000. "This is real," Naomi said, staring at the approval letter. "We're actually building something significant." With the grant money, they hired 4 new contractors, all women. They also started the Carter Construction Training Program, offering free classes in basic carpentry, electrical work, and plumbing to low-income women. The first class had 12 students. They ranged in age from 19 to 54. Some were single mothers looking for better-paying jobs. Others were women escaping abusive situations, much like Naomi had been. "This is about more than construction," Naomi told the first class. "This is about independence. When you have a skill, when you can earn your own money, no one can control you. You have power." Meanwhile, Andre Thompson started referring clients to Carter and Associates. They collaborated on several projects, and their professional relationship grew stronger. Andre was respectful, competent, and genuinely interested in Naomi's opinions and ideas. "It's nice working with someone who sees me as an equal," Naomi told Simone after a project meeting. "He's a good guy," Simone said. "And I think he might be interested in more than just business collaboration." Naomi had noticed the way Andre looked at her, the way he always made time to talk, the way he asked about her life beyond work. But she was not ready for romance. She was still healing, still learning to trust again. "I'm not looking for a relationship," Naomi said firmly. "I'm focused on building my business and my life. That's enough right now." "Fair enough," Simone said. "But when you're ready, he seems like someone worth considering." 6 months after the keynote speech, Naomi received another unexpected opportunity. A producer from a morning talk show called, asking if she would appear on national television to discuss financial abuse and entrepreneurship. "We've been following your story," the producer said. "Our audience needs to hear from someone like you. Someone who survived and thrived." Naomi agreed. The appearance was scheduled for 2 weeks later. She flew to New York, stayed in a nice hotel, and appeared on the show alongside other successful women entrepreneurs. The host asked her about Vincent, about the wedding, about how she found the courage to leave and fight back. "I didn't feel courageous," Naomi admitted. "I felt terrified. But I had people who believed in me. My best friend, my brother, my lawyer. They reminded me that I deserved better. And eventually I started to believe it too." The segment lasted 15 minutes. By the time it aired, Naomi's phone was flooded with messages. Women sharing their stories. Business owners offering partnerships. Media outlets requesting interviews. "You're becoming a public figure," Simone said. "Are you okay with that?" Naomi thought about it. She had never wanted fame or attention. But if her story could help other women recognize abuse and find the courage to leave, then it was worth it. "I'm okay with it," she said. "As long as I can use this platform to help people." Carter and Associates won a major contract to renovate a historic building downtown. It was the biggest project they had ever taken on, with a budget of over $2 million. Naomi assembled a team of 20 contractors and worked closely with Andre's engineering firm to ensure everything was up to code. The project took 9 months, but when it was complete, the building was stunning. Local newspapers featured it. The city council gave them an award for historic preservation. At the award ceremony, the mayor shook Naomi's hand. "You've done this city proud," he said. "This building was falling apart. Now it's going to serve the community for another 100 years. Naomi felt proud. She had built something that would last, something that mattered. And she had done it without Vincent, without anyone controlling or diminishing her. Her training program graduated its first class. All 12 women found jobs in construction, earning good wages that allowed them to support themselves and their families. Several cried at the graduation ceremony, thanking Naomi for giving them a chance. "You gave me my life back," one woman said. "I was trapped in a bad situation with no way out. Now I have a career and independence. I can take care of my kids. Thank you." Naomi hugged her, remembering when she had felt just as trapped. "You did the work," she told the woman. "You earned this." As the second year after leaving Vincent approached, Naomi took stock of her life. She owned a successful business that employed over 30 people. She had helped train dozens of women in construction skills. She had spoken to thousands of people about surviving abuse and rebuilding. She had her own home, her own money, and complete control over her own life. Vincent was in prison, irrelevant to her daily existence. She rarely thought about him anymore. When she did, it was with pity rather than anger. He had thrown away everything to chase power and control, and now he had nothing. Meanwhile, Naomi had everything that mattered. Freedom, purpose, and the knowledge that she had built her life entirely on her own terms. And that was worth more than anything Vincent could have ever given her. Naomi heard about Vincent's sentencing hearing for the additional charges through Patricia. After his conviction, investigators had discovered more victims and more fraud. Vincent had scammed an elderly couple out of their retirement savings. He had forged documents to steal a property from a veteran. The list went on. The judge added 3 more years to his sentence, Patricia reported. He's now serving 13 years total. With good behavior, he might get out in 10, but that's still a long time. Naomi felt nothing. No satisfaction, no anger, just indifference. Vincent's fate was no longer her concern. But then Vincent's mother called. "Naomi, please," the older woman said, her voice desperate. "You need to help Vincent. He's dying in there. The conditions are terrible. He's lost so much weight. He's depressed. You have to convince the judge to reduce his sentence." "No," Naomi said simply. "But you're his wife. You have influence." "I'm his ex-wife," Naomi corrected. "The divorce was finalized a year ago, and I have no sympathy for him. He made his choices. Now he's living with the consequences." "How can you be so cold?" Vincent's mother asked. "He made mistakes, but he doesn't deserve this." "He forced me to cook for his wedding to another woman," Naomi said, her voice hard. "He stole my identity and destroyed my credit. He manipulated and controlled me for years. So yes, he absolutely deserves this. And I'm not helping him." She hung up. Vincent's sister called next, then his brother. They all begged her to speak on Vincent's behalf, to ask the judge for leniency. Naomi blocked all their numbers. Patricia sent her updates occasionally. Gabrielle had been released after serving 18 months of her 3-year sentence. She immediately disappeared, moving to another state and changing her name. "She wants to escape her past," Patricia said. "Can't say I blame her, though she brought it on herself." Vincent, however, was not adapting well to prison. According to the reports Patricia received from the prosecutor's office, he had been written up multiple times for bad behavior. He fought with other inmates. He refused to participate in rehabilitation programs. He blamed everyone but himself for his situation. "He's his own worst enemy," Patricia observed. "If he had shown remorse, taken responsibility, he might have gotten a lighter sentence. Instead, he kept lying and threatening people." The judge threw the book at him. Naomi also heard through the grapevine that Vincent had tried to run a scam from inside prison. He had convinced another inmate's girlfriend to send him money for a fake investment scheme. When the woman realized she had been scammed and reported it, Vincent got additional charges and more time added to his sentence. "Some people never learn," Julian said when Naomi told him. "Vincent thinks he's smarter than everyone else. He'll probably spend his whole life in and out of prison." One afternoon, Naomi received an email from an address she did not recognize. The subject line read, "I'm sorry." She almost deleted it, but curiosity made her open it. The email was from Gabrielle. "Dear Naomi," it began. "I know I have no right to contact you. I know you probably hate me and you have every reason to. But I need to tell you that I'm sorry. I was wrong to help Vincent hurt you. I was wrong to mock you and laugh at your pain. I was selfish and cruel, and I've spent every day since my arrest regretting my actions. I'm not asking for your forgiveness. I don't deserve it. But I want you to know that you were right about everything. Vincent used me just like he used you. He never loved either of us. He only loved himself and what he could take from people. I heard about your business and how successful you are now. I'm genuinely happy for you. You deserved so much better than what Vincent and I put you through. I hope you have a good life. You earned it. Gabrielle." Naomi read the email twice. She felt nothing. No anger, no forgiveness, just emptiness. Gabrielle's apology did not change anything. It did not undo the humiliation or the pain. She deleted the email without responding. Gabrielle was not her problem anymore. 6 months later, Patricia called with interesting news. "Vincent is trying to file an appeal," she said. "He's claiming he had inadequate legal representation and that the trial was unfair." "Will it work?" Naomi asked. "Not a chance," Patricia said confidently. "His conviction was rock solid. The evidence was overwhelming. This is just him grasping at straws. The appeal will be denied." She was right. 2 months later, Vincent's appeal was rejected. He would serve his full sentence. Naomi received one final communication from Vincent. It was a letter forwarded through Patricia's office. Vincent had written it from prison. The letter was long and rambling. Vincent claimed he had never meant to hurt her. He said he had been under stress and made bad decisions. He insisted that if she really loved him, she would help him get out of prison early. "We were good together once," he wrote. "Remember when we first met? We were happy. We can have that again if you just give me another chance. I've learned my lesson. I'll be better this time. Please, Naomi. Don't abandon me." Naomi read the letter once, then tore it into pieces and threw it away. Vincent had learned nothing. He was still trying to manipulate her, still trying to make her feel guilty, still trying to control her from behind bars. She wrote one sentence on a piece of paper and had Patricia deliver it to Vincent. "I will never help you. Move on with your life and let me live mine." After that, she heard nothing more from Vincent. He was irrelevant to her, a chapter of her life that was closed and locked away. Meanwhile, Naomi's life continued to flourish. She expanded her training program to 3 cities. She won awards for her business practices and community involvement. She spoke at conferences and inspired thousands of people with her story. Vincent had tried to destroy her. Instead, he had freed her to become more than she ever thought possible. His downfall was complete, while her rise had only just begun. And that was the best revenge of all. Not hurting him back, but building a life so full and successful that he simply did not matter anymore. 2 years after Vincent's trial, Naomi stood at the edge of a construction site, looking at an empty lot that would soon become an affordable housing complex. Carter and Associates had won the contract to build 40 units for low-income families. It was the biggest project in the company's history. "This is going to change lives," Andre said, standing beside her. He had become her closest collaborator and over the past year something more. Their relationship had developed slowly. After months of working together, Andre had asked Naomi to dinner. Not a business dinner, but a real date. Naomi had hesitated, not sure she was ready. But Simone had encouraged her. "Not everyone is Vincent," her friend had said. "Andre is a good man who respects you. Give him a chance." So Naomi had said yes. They had dinner at a quiet restaurant where they talked for hours. Not about business, but about their lives, their dreams, their past. Andre listened when Naomi talked about her marriage to Vincent and what she had endured. He did not try to fix things or offer platitudes. He just listened and understood. "You're the strongest person I know," he had said. "What you've built, who you've become, it's incredible." Their relationship grew naturally. Andre never pushed or demanded. He respected Naomi's independence and celebrated her success. When Carter and Associates won the housing contract, he had been the first to congratulate her. Now they stood together looking at the future they were building. The groundbreaking ceremony is next week, Naomi said. The mayor will be there, along with representatives from the housing authority. You should be proud, Andre said. This project is going to provide safe, quality homes for families who need them. Naomi smiled. I am proud. This is exactly the kind of work I wanted to do. Using my skills to help people, not just to make money. The groundbreaking ceremony was beautiful. The mayor gave a speech praising Naomi's vision and dedication. Representatives from the families who would live in the new housing thanked her with tears in their eyes. You're giving us hope, one mother said. A real home for my children. I can't thank you enough. Naomi hugged her, feeling emotional. Everyone deserves a safe place to live, she said. I'm honored to help make that happen. After the ceremony, Naomi's parents approached with Julian and Simone. Her father had tears in his eyes. I'm so proud of you, he said. After everything you went through, to see you here doing this. It's amazing. I had a lot of help, Naomi said, looking at the people who had supported her. I couldn't have done it alone. But you did do it, her mother said. You found the strength to leave a terrible situation and build something beautiful. That's all you, sweetheart. The celebration continued with a reception at Naomi's office. The space had grown significantly. What had started as a small rental was now a full suite with a conference room, design studio, and offices for 15 staff members. Patricia stopped by with a gift, a framed photo of Naomi at her keynote speech. Remember where you came from, the lawyer said. And remember how far you've come. I'll never forget, Naomi promised. Thank you for everything, Patricia. You saved my life. You saved your own life, Patricia corrected. I just gave you the tools. That evening, as the celebration wound down, Naomi and Andre walked through the city. It was a beautiful night, cool but clear. Can I ask you something? Andre said. Of course. Do you ever think about Vincent? About what he's doing now? Naomi considered the question. Honestly? Almost never. He's in my past. He has no power over me anymore. I'm glad, Andre said. You deserve to move forward without that weight. They walked in comfortable silence for a while. Then Andre stopped and turned to face her. I know we've been taking things slow, he said, and I respect that. But I want you to know that I'm serious about us. About you. I'm not going anywhere. Naomi felt warmth spread through her chest. I know, she said softly. And I'm serious too. For the first time in a long time I'm happy. Really happy. And you're a big part of that. Andre smiled and took her hand. They continued walking, two people who had found each other at the right time in the right way. The following month, Naomi received news that Vincent was being released early due to prison overcrowding. He would serve only 8 years instead of 13. Are you worried? Simone asked when she heard. No, Naomi said honestly. He can't hurt me anymore. I have a restraining order. He's not allowed to contact me or come near my home or business. And even if he tried something, I'm not the same person I was. I'm stronger now. I won't let him control me ever again. Vincent was released on a Tuesday morning. By that afternoon, Naomi heard from mutual acquaintances that he looked terrible. Years in prison had aged him. He was thin, his hair was gray, and his eyes were hard. He had nowhere to go. His family had mostly abandoned him after all the publicity about his crimes. Gabriel was long gone. His business reputation was destroyed. No one would hire him. Naomi heard he was living in a halfway house and working minimum wage at a warehouse. His parole officer kept close watch on him, making sure he did not try to run any more scams. She felt nothing when she heard these updates. Not pity, not satisfaction, just indifference. Vincent's life was his own problem now. 2 weeks after his release, Naomi was at a charity gala celebrating women entrepreneurs. She was being honored with an award for her work in the community. The ballroom was full of successful business owners, politicians, and community leaders. As she stood on stage accepting her award, Naomi saw someone enter the back of the room. It was Vincent. He was wearing cheap clothes and looked out of place among the well-dressed crowd. He stood in the doorway, staring at her with an expression she could not read. Naomi held his gaze for a moment. Then she turned away and continued her acceptance speech. I used to think success meant having money and status, she told the audience. But I've learned that true success is freedom. The freedom to make your own choices, to control your own life, to build something that matters. I almost lost that freedom. Someone tried to take it from me, but I fought back and I won. And now I use that freedom to help others find theirs." The audience applauded. Naomi left the stage and was immediately surrounded by well-wishers and supporters. When she looked back at the doorway, Vincent was gone. That night, she received a text from an unknown number. "I saw you at the gala. You've done well for yourself. Can we talk?" Naomi blocked the number without responding. She would not give Vincent even a moment of her time. The next day, he showed up at her construction site. Security stopped him at the gate. "Tell Naomi I just want to talk," Vincent said. "5 minutes. That's all I'm asking." "Miss Carter doesn't want to speak with you," the security guard said. "You need to leave or we'll call the police." Vincent left, but he tried again the following week, this time at her office building. Again, security turned him away. The third time they called the police for violating the restraining order. Vincent was arrested and spent a night in jail. After that, he stopped trying. Months passed. Naomi's housing project was completed on schedule and under budget. The 40 families who moved in threw a celebration, inviting Naomi and her team. She walked through the completed units, seeing children playing in safe yards, parents cooking in new kitchens, families building lives and homes she had helped create. "This is what it's all about," she told Andre that night. "This is why I do what I do." "You're making a real difference," he said. "You should be proud." She was. Not just of her business success, but of the life she had built. The friendships she had maintained. The family relationships she had repaired. The independence she had earned. Carter and Associates continued to grow. They opened a second office in a neighboring city. The training program graduated its 5th class, with over 60 women having completed the program and found good jobs. Naomi was invited to speak at universities, conferences, and community events. She wrote an article about financial abuse that was published in a major magazine. She started a podcast about entrepreneurship and overcoming adversity. Her life was full in ways she had never imagined. She woke up each morning excited about the day ahead. She made decisions without fear or second-guessing. She surrounded herself with people who respected and supported her. 2 years after Vincent's release from prison, Naomi heard he had moved to another state. Someone said he was working construction for someone else, doing manual labor for low wages. His parole had ended, but his reputation followed him. No one trusted him. No one wanted him around. Naomi did not care. Vincent was a ghost from her past, irrelevant to her present and future. On the 5-year anniversary of leaving Vincent, Naomi stood in her office, looking at the walls covered with photos and awards. Images of completed projects. Certificates recognizing her community work. Pictures of the women who had graduated from her training program. Simone came in carrying champagne. 5 years, she said. "Look at everything you've accomplished." "We've accomplished," Naomi corrected. "I couldn't have done any of this without you." They toasted, remembering the frightened woman who had fled a hotel kitchen, and celebrating the confident entrepreneur she had become. "To freedom," Simone said. "To new beginnings," Naomi added. "And to never settling for less than you deserve," Simone finished. That night, Andre took Naomi to dinner at an elegant restaurant overlooking the city. As they sat by the window watching the lights below, he reached across the table and took her hand. "I love you," he said simply. "And I want to spend my life with you. Not because you need me, but because we're better together." Naomi felt tears in her eyes. "I love you too," she said. "And yes, we are better together." They sat in comfortable silence, two equals who had chosen each other freely, without manipulation or control. It was everything Naomi had never had with Vincent, and everything she had always deserved. Later, as they walked through the city streets, Naomi thought about her journey. From victim to survivor to success story. From control to free. From broken to whole. Vincent had tried to destroy her, but he had failed. Instead, he had inadvertently given her the greatest gift. The motivation to leave, to fight, to become the person she was always meant to be. She had built a life completely on her own terms. A successful business. Meaningful work. Genuine relationships. Real love. And most importantly, complete control over her own destiny. Vincent was somewhere out there, living with the consequences of his choices. But Naomi did not think about him anymore. She was too busy living the beautiful life she had created. And that was the best ending of all. Not revenge, not punishment, but simply moving forward and thriving without him. She had won. Not by destroying him, but by building something so beautiful and strong that he simply did not matter anymore. And as she looked at Andre, at her thriving business, at the future stretching bright before her, Naomi smiled. This was her life now. and it was exactly what she deserved.